Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford in 2003 as a 19-year-old to start Theranos, a company now poised to disrupt the medical diagnostic test market. She spoke about the company's vision at their headquarters in Palo Alto, California, Thursday afternoon, July 3, 2014. Carl Mondon, Bay Area News Group, disgraced former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes appeared in federal court in San Jose on Friday after federal prosecutors charged her and a former executive of the Bay Area blood testing company with criminal fraud. Theranos announced Friday that Holmes was resigning as CEO of the company she founded in 2003 as a 19-year-old Stanford University dropout. Holmes and former Theranos chief operating officer and board member Ramesh Sunny Balwani made false and misleading statements to investors and failed to disclose material facts about a blood testing system that didn't work as described, according to an indictment filed Thursday in federal court in San Jose. The two have each been charged with 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. They face maximum penalties of 20 years in prison and $250,000 fines, plus any restitution, the Department of Justice said in a news release. This conspiracy misled doctors and patients about the reliability of medical tests that endangered health and lives, FBI Special Agent John Bennett said in the news release. Theranos did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The company claimed to have developed revolutionary technology that could use as little as a single drop of blood to generate more accurate and much faster test results than traditional methods, at a lower cost. The fall of Holmes represents a cautionary Silicon Valley tale, demonstrating how a charismatic tech industry leader making grandiose claims about a disruptive new product can attract massive investments while allegedly bamboozling investors, consumers and a high-profile corporate partner. Before Theranos' claims unraveled, starting with a Wall Street Journal expose, Holmes had been widely praised as a Silicon Valley wunderkind pushing forward technology's cutting edge. Theranos attracted to its board such notables as former Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and George Shultz, former Secretary of Defense William Perry, former Wells Fargo CEO Richard Kovachevich and current Secretary of Defense James Mattis, who according to the Washington Post had pushed to get Theranos' blood testing system into military use in Afghanistan. None are still on the board. Holmes, 34, who had presented herself as a new Steve Jobs, down to the signature black turtleneck, in March was fined $500,000 by the Securities and Exchange Commission, which alleged she had committed massive fraud that saw investors pour $700 million into the firm. Before its troubles began, the company at one point reached a valuation of $9 billion and in 2015, Holmes topped Forbes' list of America's richest self-made women with a net worth of $4.5 billion. A year later, Forbes lowered its estimate of her net worth to zero. The federal indictment claims that Holmes, of Los Altos Hills, and Balwani engaged in a plan to obtain money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses. The pair misled investors through false written and verbal communications, marketing materials and false and misleading financial statements, models and other statements, the indictment alleges. They also made false and misleading statements to the media, according to the indictment. Although Theranos claimed its Minilab blood analyzer could perform a full range of tests, Holmes and Balwani knew their analyzer had accuracy and reliability problems, performed a limited number of tests, was slower than some competing devices, and could not compete with larger, conventional machines in the simultaneous testing of blood from many patients, the indictment says. The two also told investors their company was financially strong and stable, and would generate more than $100 million in revenue and break even in 2014, then generate about $1 billion in revenue in 2015, according to the indictment. In truth, the indictment says, Holmes and Balwani knew that Theranos had and would generate only modest revenues, roughly a few $100,000 or so. In 2014 and 2015, Holmes and Balwani conducted fake technology demonstrations for investors in which they claimed their system was testing blood when in fact it was set on a null protocol to make it look like it was testing blood but wasn't, the indictment alleges. They also told investors the company's partnership with Walgreens for blood testing wellness centers was expanding, when it was stalled because executives at the pharmacy giant had concerns with Theranos' performance, the indictment says. Many hundreds of patients paid, or caused their medical insurance companies to pay, Theranos, or Walgreens acting on behalf of Theranos, for blood tests and test results, sometimes following referrals from their defrauded doctors, the Justice Department news release said. The defendants delivered to doctors and patients blood results that were inaccurate, unreliable, and improperly validated, the indictment alleges. Investors were subjected to further falsehoods when Holmes and Balwani told them the company had a profitable, revenue-generating relationship with the Pentagon, and that Theranos' system had been deployed to the battlefield, when in fact the firm had limited revenue from military contracts and its technology hadn't seen the field of battle, according to the indictment. Holmes and Balwani also told investors that Theranos had used its own system to conduct tests on patients, when it had actually bought third-party analyzers and used those for patient testing, the indictment alleges. You might also like why you should apply for the HSBC Advance Credit Card. HSBC Bank. 3 reasons Singaporeans should apply for HSBC's HSBC Bank Air Conditioning, now finally affordable thanks to newthingstoday.com. An exclusive peek into Singapore's country club scene. Intercontinental hotels. Perk up your mornings. Her World Sushi Pasta present the story of Edome Sushi Intercontinental Hotels.